I've said all along that most of the Rapture Watchliar community is a bunch of people looking for attention, feeding their addictions to getting accolades from all their great ideas about how soon the world will end. And for most of the people that do this, that's really what it is. It's a hobby that they really enjoy. They use God's name to get attention and entertain people in the process. But there are some people making a pretty good living off of this, as it turns out. So I want to do something a little bit different today and talk about that. So I need to make a disclaimer before I begin. I'm going to make a video on these three people, Tom Cody, Jan Markel, and Bob Barber. I am not, repeat not, accusing these people of anything illegal or even unethical. This is not slander. This is not lying. I am using factual data that anyone can get from the internet. I'm using a little bit of my own mathematics. I'm using their own words that they have said. So the first thing I have to do is give you the math on how I arrived at the numbers for monetizing a YouTube channel. I do not monetize my channel, even if I did. It's so small, the numbers are so small that I wouldn't really notice anything anyway, so I don't have any numbers from my personal experience. What I do have is a video that this conservative commentator did several months ago, Matt Walsh, when he was demonetized by YouTube. Listen carefully to what he says here.
So on Monday afternoon, I was informed that YouTube was demonetizing my channel.
Okay, so first we get that little piece of information. He was demonetized at this point. And basically, Matt Walsh talks about things like the transgender ideology and the danger it is to families. He is a Christian commentator and one that I follow. And YouTube began blocking and banning him from saying things about the transgender stuff. And then they also, like he said, demonetized him, stopped him from making money from the advertisements. So how much money was Matt Walsh making from these advertisements?
And now they're taking away our ads, which is a penalty of more than $100,000 per month.
It's about $100,000 per month in ad revenue sharing. This was back in April of 2023. So what I did was I went back to April and March, and I counted up the number of views, which YouTube pays by the view of a video. They don't pay by the subscriber. What they really care about is people actually watching your videos. So I went back and counted up, did a rough count of how many views he was getting per month. And as it turns out, he was getting around 15 million total views per month. 15 million total views per month. I did some math on that, and I'll show you how I arrived at that. If you take $100,000 per month, which is what he says it was worth, divided by 15 million, you get about 0.6 of a cent, or 6.7 of a cent per view. So if you take like a Tom Cody video that he made recently, where he got about 100,000 views on it, he made $666.66 on that. There are no coincidences, people. This is the mark of this is Satan right here. Look, there's no coincidences. So obviously Tom Cody is in Satan's club. I mean, that's a joke. It's a joke. I'm just trying to make a point. So 100,000 views makes you about $660. Let's just make it easy. Okay, so we know Tom Cody monetizes his channel. He says so. His wife says that he makes enough money to pay the bills. That was 6 months ago she said that. So we know he makes money monetizing. He also makes money asking for donations. But I did some quick math on him lately, and he is doing about 48,000 views per day, not counting his Sundays where he does prayer time and only gets 9 or 10,000 views. By the way, guys, this is very telling right here. He gets, what, 10,000 views on a Sunday when he's praying with people, and he gets 4 to 5 times as many on days he hypes the Rapture. Why do you think people are watching his channel? Where's he making his living? Is he making his living off of being a minister and running a ministry? Or is he making his living off of promising people they will soon be taken off to heaven any second. And they want to hear that, and they want to hear his latest ideas about that, so they're willing to watch. When you do the math on his channel, though, it's about let's just say 1.5 million views per month right now. So 1.5 million, whoops. Just shy of 10 grand a month. So again, these are rough numbers. I don't know this for a fact. I don't have the data. Matt Walsh might make extra money once you get to a certain number. YouTube might up the percentages or cents per view or whatever. I don't know. Let's just say he's making, several $1,000s per month just doing the videos, not asking for money. That's interesting. I mean, good for him. But I just want you guys to know that. And I think it's important that we know that. We have a guy using the name of God, the holy name of God, the name Jesus, the salvation message, and a giant inflated nonsensical fantasy called a rapture any second to get you out of your troubles, to make a pretty good living. All right? But that's just the beginning, guys. So here's Jan Markel's nonprofit ministry. Now, every nonprofit in the U.S., other than churches, have to submit what's called a Form 990 every year. This form explicitly spells out how much money they took in, where that money came from, whether it's donations or selling things like books, and where the money went. Specifically, who got paid in the nonprofit group, how much did they get paid, and where else did money go? What else did they spend it on? It's full disclosure. Now, I can send you guys the link to this website if you guys just ask me. Just stick a little note in the comment. But here's Jan Markel's 990 from 2021, and you guys can have fun with this website. It's kind of interesting. Again, it won't work on churches, so you can't find out who's making what in any of the Calvary Chapel denominations or anything like that. And that's good. I mean, we don't want the government making us expose everything like that. But this is important because these are people who are taking donations and then ostensibly using them for the kingdom of God. And it makes sense that they should tell us where it went. So we can see here on Jan's revenue, she's at 3.7 million this year, 2.7 million last year. Had a pretty good year. In previous years, she was in the $2 million range. She saw a really big bump during COVID. So a lot of these people, they got a lot of new followers, new watchers, and that helped their revenue a lot. But they also sold some things. She does conferences every year. I think she's actually now doing one a month. And these aren't really money makers. They pretty much spend money to get the conference done. But, it's still revenue. People come and they buy things. She gets exposure for it. So it's kind of a marketing thing if you want to look at it that way. So total revenue is about $4 million. Jan Markel, and I know she has a board of directors that authorize this kind of thing. So again, this is not a scandal. She's allowed to be paid for her work. She's entertaining people. People love what she does, and she ought to be paid for it. Whether or not she should be paid $135,000 a year, I mean, look, that's up to the market. Okay, if you guys think she's worth $135K, she's worth $135K. Who am I to say what someone is worth for what they do? That's just the way the market works. I'm a capitalist. I make money from selling my services also, so I can't really complain about it. I'm just giving you data. These are facts. But let me show you something a little more disturbing. Here's a channel called End Time Dream and Vision. It's been around for a while. This is run by Bob Barber. Now, Bob has a full-time ministry. And, I honestly, again, I've never sat down with these people and I've never really dug into their books or anything. I can only go by what the public records show, and I go by what he says on his channel, and it looks really legit. It looks like they're really doing some good stuff. They at the end of each one of their hypey Rapture Soon videos, where they get most of their draw from, they do a 5-minute spiel on the ministry about how much they're helping people around the world with Bibles, with clean water, with food. You know what? I hope that's all true, because it sounds really great. Sounds really great what Bob's ministry is doing there. Let's take a look at Bob's little nonprofit here, shall we? And someone pointed this out to me on my channel the other day, so thank you for that. I appreciate that. His nonprofit is called Feed My Sheep. Here's his 2021 filing. And check out what Bob is paying himself. Now, I don't know if he has a board, but he doubled his income from contributions last year, almost. $835,000 the previous year, $1.5 million the next year. Basically all donations. So here's where it gets interesting. So according to the paperwork, the expenses were, last time it was $426,000 in grants, money he gave to people for the ministry, money he spent on helping people. $250,000 in salaries. Last year it was $982 given away and $488. That's almost $500,000 in salary. So let's take a look at the details now. So if you go down here, I'll come back to this in a second, but this is all the details of how much money was spent on what, or, you know, when they gave out the money, and it totals the amount that they say they gave away. All right. But when you go down into the officers section, turns out that Barber, yeah, he took the whole entire $488,700 salary himself. Pretty good little business you got going there, Bob. I mean, now, do I know what he's doing with that money? Is it possible that Bob is turning right around and donating all of it, or, you know, most of it, keeping a little for himself to live on, and then donating the rest to the poor? I'm going to go ahead and just assume that that's what he's doing. Okay, so for the record, in case Bob is listening, Bob, I assume you take the vast majority of that $500,000 salary and you give it away. Because when you look at where the money went, up here, or down here, I guess, in the form, and you guys can go look at this, just let me know, I'll give you the link. Down here it shows that all of the money that he brought in was given away. Add up all this, it's $1.5 million. It's the exact dollar amount of what he gave away, or of what he took in. So where's his salary in all of this? Did he give his salary to these missionaries that he says he gave money to? I don't know. I'd love an explanation. Maybe Bob has another way of making money, like he has a tent making ministry, like he should, because here's where I will make a judgment call. I believe ministers should make money by doing a job, producing something in the economy separate from their ministry. They should make $0 from their ministry. A person's income should not be tied to ministry for the Lord. It should not be tied to gospel outreach. Their income should be separate from it in the economy. That way, you don't have weird stuff going on where people make decisions based on their money and their livelihood. Not a good combination. So, Bob, I'm going to assume that you give away the rest of your income. I'm going to assume that, you know, you keep a little bit of this for yourself just for living expenses, and the rest of it goes to the people, because you say that in your paperwork. Explain that, or just say to me, hey, Bruce, guess what? I'm giving every cent away. I make a living off of something else. You know what? My status of you will rise considerably if you would say that. So I hope you do. Anyway, guys, for what it's worth,